Hello, my name is Timir. I am your facilitator from myabcenglish.com. Today, we will be discussing about the most commonly used phrasal verbs and collocations by the native speakers in their conversation. So, in order to sound more natural in English, you need to master these commonly used expressions and include them in your regular conversations and writing. Here are some commonly used phrasal verbs and collocations with their meaning. To get in, to get on, to enter or to board a vehicle. To get out of, to get off, to leave or to descend from a vehicle. To put on, to place on oneself, usually set of clothes. To take off, to remove, usually set of clothes. To call up, to telephone, also to give someone a call. To turn on, to start or cause to function. To turn off, to cause to stop functioning. Also, to switch off. Right away, very soon, immediately. Also, at once. To pick up, to lift from the floor, table, etc. with one's fingers. Sooner or later, eventually, after a period of time. To get up, to rise from a bed. At first, in the beginning, originally. To dress up, to wear formal clothes, to dress very nicely. At last, finally, after a long time. As usual, as is the general case, as is typical. To find out, get information about, to determine. To look at, give one's attention to watch. To look for, to try to find, to search for. All right, acceptable, fine, yes, okay. All along, all the time, from the beginning, without change. Little by little, gradually, slowly, also step by step. To tire out, to make very weary due to difficult conditions or hard effort. Also, to wear out. To call on, to ask for a response from, to visit. Never mind, don't be concerned about it. Ignore what was just said. To pick out, to choose, to select. To take one's time, to do without rush, not to hurry. To talk over, to discuss or consider a situation with others. To lie down, to place oneself in a flat position, to recline. To stand up, to rise from a sitting or lying position. To sit down, to be seated, also take a seat. All day, week, month, year long. The entire day, week, month, year. By oneself, alone, without assistance. On purpose, for a reason, deliberately. To get along with, to associate or work well with, to succeed or manage in doing. To make a difference to be of importance to affect. To take out, to remove, to extract. To take part in, to be involved in, to participate in. At all, to any degree. To look up, to locate information in a directory, dictionary, book, etc. At least, a minimum of, no fewer or less than. So far, until now, until the present time. To take a walk, stroll, hike, etc. To go for a walk, stroll, hike, etc. To take a trip, to go on a journey, to travel. To try on, to wear clothes, to check the style or fit before buying. To think over, to consider carefully before deciding. To take place, to occur, to happen according to plan. To put away, to remove from sight, to put in the proper place. To look out, to be careful or cautious, also to watch out. To shake hands, to exchange greetings by clasping hands. To get back, to return. To catch cold, to become sick with a cold of the nose or throat. To get over, to recover from an illness, to accept a loss or sorrow. To make up one's mind, to reach a decision, to decide finally. To change one's mind, to alter one's decision or opinion. For the time being, temporarily, also for now. For good, permanently, forever. To call off, to cancel. to put off, to postpone. In a hurry, hurried, rushed, also in a rush. Under the weather, not feeling well, sick. To hang up, to place clothes on a hook or hanger, S. To replace the receiver on the phone at the end of a conversation. To count on, to trust someone in time of need, also to depend on. To make friends, to become friendly with others. Out of order, not in working condition. To get to be able to do something special, to arrive at a place. Few and far between, not frequent, unusual, rare. To look over, to examine, to inspect closely. To have time off, to have free time, not to have to work. Also, to take time off, S. To go on, to happen, to resume, to continue. Also, to keep on. To put out, extinguish, to cause to stop functioning. All of a sudden, suddenly, without warning. To point out, to show, to indicate, to bring to one's attention. To be up, to expire, to be finished. To be over, to be finished, to end. Also to be through. On time, exactly at the correct time, punctually. In time to, before the time necessary to do something. To get better, worse, etc. To become better, worse, etc. To get sick, well, tired, busy, wet, etc. To become sick, well, tired, busy, wet, etc. Had better, should, ought to, be advisable to. Would rather, prefer to. To call it a day or night. To stop working for the test of time. To figure out, to solve, to find a solution, to understand. To think of, to have a good or bad opinion of. To be about to be at the moment of doing something, to be ready. To turn around, to move or face in the opposite direction, to completely change the condition of. To take turns, to alternate, to change people while doing something. To pay attention to look at and listen to someone while they are speaking, to concentrate. To brush up on, to review something in order to refresh one's memory. Over and over, again, repeatedly, also time after time, time and again. To wear out, to use something until it has no value or worth anymore, to make useless through wear. To throw away, to discard, to dispose of. To fall in love, to begin to love. To go out, to stop functioning, to stop burning, to leave home or work, also to step out. Out of the question, impossible, not feasible. To have to do with, to have some connection with or relationship to. To wake up, to arise from sleep, to awaken. To be in charge of, to manage, to have responsibility for. As soon as, just after. To get in touch with, to communicate with, to contact. To have a good time, to enjoy oneself. In no time, very quickly, rapidly. To cut down on, to reduce, to lessen, also to cut back on. Quite a few, many. Used to, formerly did, had the habit of. To be used to be accustomed to get used to become used to become adjusted to. Back and forth, in a backward and forward motion. To make sure, to be sure, to ascertain. Now and then, occasionally, sometimes. Also, now and again, at times, from time to time, off and on, once in a while. To get rid of, to eliminate, to remove, to discard, to throw away. Every other one, every second one, alternate ones. To go with, to match, to compare well in color to design, to date, to accompany, also to go out with. First rate, excellent, superb. To come from, to originate from. To make good time, to travel a sufficient distance at a reasonable speed. To mix up, to stir or shake well, to confuse. To see about, to give attention or time to make out, to do, to succeed, to progress. By heart, by memorizing. To keep out, not to enter, not allow to enter. To keep away from, to stay at a distance from, to avoid use of, also stay away from. To find fault with, criticize, to complain about something. To be up to be responsible for deciding, to be doing as a regular activity. Ill at ease, uncomfortable or worried in a situation. To do over, to revise, to do again. To look into, to investigate, to examine carefully. To take hold of, to grasp, to grip with the hands. To get through, to finish, to complete. From now on, from this time into the future. To keep track of, to keep or maintain a record of, to remember the location of. To be carried away, to be greatly affected by a strong feeling. Up to date, modern, current, timely. Out of date, not modern, not current, not timely. No longer available in published form. To blow up, to inflate, to fill with air, to explode, to destroy or be destroyed by explosion. To catch fire, to begin to burn down, to burn slowly but completely, usually set of candles, to destroy completely. To burn up, to destroy completely by fire, to make angry or very annoyed. Also to tick off. To burn out, to stop functioning because of overuse, to make tired from too much work. To make good, to succeed. Stands to reason, to be clear and logical. To break out, to become widespread suddenly. As for, regarding, concerning, also as to. To feel sorry for, to pity, to feel compassion for, also to take pity on. To break down, to stop functioning, to turn out, to become or result, to appear, to attend, also to come out. Once in a blue moon, rarely, infrequently. To give up, to stop trying, to stop a bad habit, to surrender. To cross out, to cancel by marking with a horizontal line. To take for granted, not to appreciate fully, to assume to be true without giving much thought. To take into account, to consider a fact while evaluating a situation. To make clear, to clarify, to explain. Clear-cut, clearly stated, definite, apparent. To have on, to be wearing. To come to regain consciousness, to equal, to amount to. To call for, to require, to request, to urge. To eat in or to eat out. To eat at home or to eat in a restaurant. Cut and dried, predictable, known beforehand, boring. To look after, to watch, to supervise, to protect. Also, to take care of, to keep an eye on. To feel like, to have the desire to want to consider. Once and for all. Finally, absolutely. To hear from, to receive news or information from. To hear of, to know about, to be familiar with, to consider. To make fun of, to laugh at, to joke about. To come true, to become reality, to prove to be correct. As a matter of fact, really, actually, also, in fact. To have one's way, to arrange matters the way one wants, especially when someone else doesn't want the same way. Also, to get one's way. To look forward to expect or anticipate with pleasure. Inside out, with the inside facing the outside. Upside down, with the upper side turned toward the lower side. To fill in, to write answers in, to inform, to tell. To fill out, to complete a form. To take advantage of, to use well, to profit from, to use another person's weaknesses to gain what one wants. No matter, regardless of. To take up, to begin to do or study, to undertake, to occupy space, time, or energy. To take up with, to consult someone about an important matter. To take after, to resemble a parent or close relative. for physical appearance only. Also, to look like. In the long run, eventually, after a long period of time. In touch, having contact. Out of touch, not having contact, not having knowledge of. On one's toes, alert, cautious. To get along, to make progress, to manage to live in a certain state of health. Hard of hearing, partially deaf, not able to hear well. To see eye to eye, to agree, to concur, to have in mind, to be considering, to be thinking. To keep in mind, to remember, not to forget, also to bear in mind. For once, this one time, for only one time. To go off, to explode, to sound as an alarm, to leave suddenly without explanation. To grow out of, to outgrow, to become too old for, to be a result of. To make the best of, to do the best that one can in a poor situation. To cut off, to shorten by cutting the ends, to disconnect or stop suddenly. To cut out, to remove by cutting, to stop doing something. Also, to knock it off. To blow out, to explode, to go flat, for tires. To extinguish by blowing. To become of, to happen to, a missing object or person. To shut up, to close for a period of time. To be quiet, to stop talking. Have got, to have, to possess. Have got to, must, also have to. To keep up with, to maintain the same speed or rate as. On the other hand, however, in contrast. To turn down, to reduce in brightness or volume. To reject, to refuse. 50-50, divided into two equal parts. To break in, gradually to prepare something for use that is new and stiff. To interrupt. A lost cause, a hopeless case, a person or situation having no hope of positive change. Above all, mainly, especially. To do without, survive or exist without something. Also, to go without. According to, in the order of, on the authority of. To be bound to be certain to be sure to. For sure, without doubt, also for certain. To take for, to perceive or understand as. To try out. To test, to use during a trial period. To tear down, to destroy by making flat. To demolish. To tear up, to rip into small pieces. To go over, to be appreciated or accepted. To run out, to exhaust the supply of, not to have more of. At heart, basically, fundamentally. About to, ready to, just going to. To bite off, to accept as a responsibility or task. To tell apart, to distinguish between. All in all, considering everything. To pass out, to distribute, also to hand out. To lose consciousness. To go around. To be sufficient or adequate for everyone present. To circulate, to move from place to place. To be in the or one's way. To block or obstruct, not to be helpful. To cause inconvenience, for both, also to get in the or one's way. To put on, to gain, pounds or weight. To present, to perform. To put up, to tolerate, to accept unwillingly. In vain, useless, without the desired result. Day in and day out, continuously, constantly, also day after day, for longer periods of time, year in and year out, and year after year. To catch up, to work with the purpose of fulfilling a requirement or being equal to others. To hold still, not to move, to know by sight, to recognize. To be the matter, to be unsatisfactory, to be improper, to be wrong. To bring up, to rear, to raise from childhood. To mention, to raise an issue, to introduce a topic. To get lost, to become lost, to go away in order not to bother, to hold up, to delay, to make late, to remain high in quality, to run away, to leave without permission, to escape, to rule out, to refuse to consider, to prohibit, by far, by a great margin, clearly, to see off, to say goodbye upon departure by train, airplane, bus, etc. To see out, to accompany a person out of a house, building, etc. No wonder, it's no surprise that, not surprisingly, to go up, to increase, also to drive up, to be constructed, to be erected, to go up to approach, also to come up to walk up to run up to drive up to, etc. To hand in, to submit or deliver something that is due. In case, in order to be prepared if. To take apart, to disassemble, to separate the parts of something. To put together, to assemble, to be better off, to be in a more favorable condition or situation. To be well off, to have enough money to enjoy a comfortable life, to be rich, also to be well-to-do. To take by surprise, to amaze, to astonish. To keep in touch with, to maintain contact with, also to stay in touch with. To name after, to give the same name as another. To hold on, to grasp tightly or firmly. To wait, to be patient. To stop by, to visit or stop somewhere briefly in order to do something. To drop someone a line, to write a note to someone. To come across, to meet or find unexpectedly. To stand for, to represent, to signify, to tolerate. To stand a chance, to have the possibility of accomplishing something. To take pains, to work carefully and conscientiously. To look on, to watch as a spectator, to observe. To look up to admire, to respect greatly. To look down on, to feel superior to think of someone as less important. To take off, to leave the ground for airplanes, to leave often in a hurry. To pull off, to succeed in doing something difficult. To keep time, to operate accurately for watches and clocks. To make do, to manage, to cope. Close call, a situation involving a narrow escape from danger, also close shave. To get on one's nerves, to annoy or disturb. To put down, to suppress, to quell, to criticize unfairly. To go for, to be sold at a certain price, to seek or strive for. To go in for, to have as an interest, such as a sport or hobby. Also, to go for, to be into, to get into. To stay up, to remain awake, not to go to bed. To stay in, to remain at home, not to go out. To take over, to assume control or responsibility for, to do or perform again. To show up, to appear, to arrive, to be found or located. Also, for the second definition, to turn up. To clean out, to empty, to tidy by removing. To knock out, to make unconscious, to impress or attract greatly. To knock oneself out, to work very hard, sometimes too hard to do something. To carry out, to accomplish, to execute. To run into, to meet someone unexpectedly. To crash or collide into. To set out, to start traveling toward a place. To draw up, to create by drawing, such as a map. To prepare documents or legal paper. Give and take, compromise, cooperation between people. To drop out of, to stop attending, to withdraw from. To believe in, to accept as truth, have faith in. To cheer up, to make happier, to feel less sad. To make sense, to be sensible or reasonable. To burst out, to depart quickly. Also, to storm out, to act suddenly. To get away, to get free, to escape. To get away with, to avoid punishment. to serve someone right, to receive one's just punishment, to keep up, to prevent from sleeping, to continue maintaining, speed, level of work, condition, etc. To keep up with, to have current knowledge of, to understand as an explanation, to stand out, to be easily visible or noticeable, to let on, to reveal or tell what you know, to hint, to go wrong, to fail, to result badly, to meet someone halfway, to compromise with someone. To check up on, to examine with the purpose of determining condition, also to check on, to stick up, to point or place upwards, to come about, to happen, to bring about, to cause to happen, to build up, to increase slowly, to make stronger gradually, to die down, to decrease, to lessen in strength, to fade away, to diminish gradually in time or distance, to die out, not to exist anymore, to be in the process of disappearing, to make out, to read or see clearly, to live up to fulfill a standard or promise, to stick to adhere to a promise, to follow or obey a set of rules, procedures, to stick it to cheat, to take unfair advantage of, also to rip off, the rip off, to stand up for, to insist on, to demand, to defend, to support, to take on, to employ, to hire, to accept responsibility for, to undertake, to take down, to remove from an elevated place, to write down what is said, to note, to fall through, to fail to materialize, to give in, to surrender, to stop resisting, to give off, to release, to produce, to give out, to distribute, to become exhausted or depleted, also to run out, to have it in for, to want revenge on, to feel hostile towards, also to hold a grudge against, to have it out with, to quarrel with, to confront, to hold off, to delay or to be delayed in occurring, to hold out, to endure, to be sufficient, to survive by resisting, to persist in one's efforts, to hold over, to extend, to keep for a longer time, to make up with, resolve differences with, to pull together, to gather, to collect information, to be looking up, to appear promising or optimistic, to be improving, to kick the habit, to stop a bad habit, to cover up, to conceal, to hide, to drop off, to fall asleep, to take to a certain location, to decrease. For the third definition, also, to fall off, to turn over, to place upside down, to flip, to turn upside down, to pass or give control to someone. Last straw, the final event in a series of unacceptable actions. I hope you will soon start using these useful expressions in English and speak more fluently, write more effectively, and improve your listening comprehension skills. Please like and subscribe to the channel to receive more updates on the videos.